Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Mordred, specifically how to potentially counter this champion. He is strong, he offers a lot to an already powerful faction, and his trouble comes mainly within his two special abilities. One being the strongest turn manipulator in the game, and one being the strongest ability period in the game. You have his pulling the threads, which will reduce the enemy initiative and increase your initiative. Versing him, it will be opposite. And then the chance to lock down abilities, and then you have his distortion, which polymorphs a character, restricting the use of their leadership and passive abilities, nullifying most meta teams, because you consider the meta teams at the moment. You have your Orcs, Dragonkin, Beastmen, then you've got ridiculous amounts of hybrids, which again still rely on leadership abilities. Not all teams require a leadership ability, however, the majority of them have them, or passives in the team that are powerful as well. And this character can simply remove that threat. He can get rid of Arcane, he can get rid of Dracona, he can get rid of Wukong, he can get rid of Irizit, he can get rid of the big threats. So we have to take into consideration what this character can offer and how to counter it. And one of the most important things to consider is his speed is at 247. So you essentially want to try and beat that so you can get the upper hand as soon as possible. Now, I've tested a few ways to combat this. I have not found anything guaranteed. Then you also need to take into consideration the strength of your opponent versus the strength of you. The teams I will be testing are of equal strength. They are the same gear level. They are the same star rating. So if you were going up against a team of Renegades that are higher in arcane stars or gear, then you need to reconsider whether or not you can beat them. The results of the battle may differ, or the results of the battle win chance will be lowered drastically, because there are just some teams you cannot beat that are just superior in stats. It's as simple as that. You don't have the damage, you cannot overpower their health pools. It is the way it is. So we'll look at some characters I have found to be effective against this and why they're effective. Let's get into it. So to combat the Renegades, a pure Renegade team, you are going to need to figure out how to beat the speed differential. You cannot allow Mordred to go before you, or you are going to suffer, and you are going to find yourself with a lot of struggles that you can most likely not combat. So to beat this, we are going to be using a hybrid team consisting mostly of the Archons. The reason for this is because the Archons have the ability to push your heroes just above the Mordred speed. So people are probably assuming go in with Ilios. This is not the case. I cannot see how you would win with an Ilios leader. You do need an Artis leader. The reason for this is because of his leadership ability. And at the very bottom, you can see increases speed by 12.5% and damage by 20% for all Archon allies. Now, this is going to give you just enough speed for the second character, the second key character for your team, Ilios. This is going to boost his speed up just enough that he's going to be able to cast Wisdom of Stars before the enemy of Mordred. All Archon and Keeper of Arat allies get 13% initiative for each buff they have. This is going to then... It's like a domino effect. The Artis gives the Ilios the speed to counter Mordred, then the Ilios will give your Faithful, Sacrif, and Tyros speed to move before the Mordred. Now, this is important because with Tyros now performing an ability before Mordred, he is able to cast his Light Cyclone, decreasing their initiative and allowing you to get a bit more movement in before they again unleash their wrath of endless pain upon your characters. So those are the four main characters you are going to need to use. You're going to need the Artis leader, Ilios support, Sacrif support, and Tyros damage dealer. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You need to then fill in the fifth slot. Now, I have tested a few characters, and the most success comes from Librarian and Mizuhiku. I've tried some other characters. The damage output is just not sufficient enough. I have one with Vulcan, though it was a very dicey battle. Mizuhiku, a bit more RNG dependent because you are relying on the dots, and Librarian, good as well, but again, it's a very RNG fight. You're going up against a team that is almost a certainty. They don't rely on RNG, they rely on their abilities landing. That's how the Renegades work. They are very, very efficient in how they perform. There is very little RNG to the team. So we'll jump into a battle against the Renegades. Now, please remember, if you are versing this team in the real game, in the live game, take into consideration the arcane stars and the equipment of your opponent. This is a fair battle that I'm about to show you. Everything is an equal playing field. If the enemy is stronger than you in terms of equipment or arcane stars, you may find yourself struggling a lot because you may not have the damage required to just take out the characters when needed. And if any of these characters survive at any given moment, this battle will fall apart. With the team I'm showing you, there may be a team out there yet to be discovered that can easily counter the Renegades, but it's still early days. So please remember that. And remember that the team I'm showing you is still not a guaranteed win, unfortunately. So we'll jump into the battle. I'll show you what's going to happen. So jumping into battle, you're going to get hit by the Lion Goat first up. He's going to apply the debuffs most likely. It's not a big issue. The debuffs aren't a concern. That Morrigan isn't going to have a chance to put you to sleep, not with this team, because like I said, we planned it perfectly, and our Ilios is performing before the enemy Mordred, which is all we need. All we need for the best chance of winning. Don't think you've got it in the bag because things can go wrong very quickly. So we are going to use the Wisdom of Stars. It's going to boost our initiative and allow our Tyros to perform now before the enemy Mordred, just like we predicted. So beautiful. We're going to go ahead and use our Cyclone, and we're going to reset the initiative of the enemy team, or lower the initiative of the enemy team, and then follow up with Fortitude of Warriors. Now, one little thing here, do not get baited. I did not mention this previous. I need to mention it now. With Ilios on the team using his Wisdom, he is going to apply the debuff to the enemy that allows you to attack past Taunt, which is super effective against the Renegades because Lion Go with Mordred allows for the Lion Go to have a constant Taunt up. It's very rarely it will be down. There are just so many ways in which the Taunt or the provocation can be triggered. Do not be baited into attacking Mordred. Your instincts are going to be take that character out. Just get rid of him. You will not be able to kill him in time before the Crowley moves, before the Balthazar moves, before the Morrigan moves. You will waste a lot of time trying to eliminate him. He has evasion. He has magic evasion. He has his resurrect up. He is a unit. You need to take out everyone else before you move on to that Mordred. So we are going to go ahead now and use our shield from our artist, which is going to give us a counter attack, and it's most likely kill the enemy Morrigan. She's going to get hit pretty hard. Next up, we're going to use our Forbidden Knowledge and hopefully apply the debuff to the enemy that reflects any debuffs they cast. So go ahead, beautiful. It hit everyone, wonderful. Doesn't always happen. If it doesn't, you can still win. It just becomes a struggle, a real fight uphill. Next, we're going to heal, and this is going to trigger the AoE from Librarian, get some beautiful damage out here. Wonderful. And then we're going to follow up with the AoE from Ilios, nearly take out characters here. The Morrigan's now going to perform an attack, and she is going to get hit with... She didn't use her AoE. That is not good. I was really hoping for the AoE there, so we could hit her. There we go. There's the AoE, and now... No, the counter didn't come through. Interesting. Okay, we're going to continue to strike this team. This is the fun. I don't know why the counter didn't come through. We should have counter-attacked there and taken out the Morrigan. There you go. There's another explosion from our Librarian friend, and now we get to hit them again with an AoE. I mean, it still works, but I was expecting the counter-attack from... Artist to kick in. As you can see, we win, but it got dicey very quickly. Our characters got dropped pretty low. That's not necessarily an impact from the Renegades. That's also because of our Librarian's explosion doing damage to us as well. But there you go. That's how the team works. The Librarian is the piece in the team that you can mix and match. If you think you can come up with a better character to spot in there, by all means go for it. I have tried Mizuhiku, who works pretty well with his dots. Think of the team as well. You have Tyros, which can do AoE and apply dots to everyone. You've got Ilios, who can AoE and apply dots to everyone. And you have Artis, who can AoE and apply dots to everyone as well. So the team works slightly well. And Ilios has the ability to add shields to your team, so a little bit more survivability. Shield really doesn't mean much against the Renegades, though. They will slice through it fairly quickly. And I have tried Vulcan. Vulcan can win. However, I felt my Vulcan battle was the riskiest of them all. I barely came out on top. I lost a few characters. Vulcan's support attack ended up coming through pretty well. But like I said, out of the 3 characters I've tested so far, Vulcan felt like the least safest option to use. I will do more in-depth battle reports against the Renegades. By all means, this is not the only Renegades team you're going to see, or it's not the only Mordred team you're going to see. I've already seen hybrids coming out as well, but as they do, we'll figure out ways to beat them as well, because every team needs to be beaten. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the method in which you could use at the moment to counter Mordred and his speed and the debuffs you can apply to your team. Hopefully it helps you guys out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability wherever you're around the world. Until next time, please take care of yourself.